Thank you so much for being here.
My pleasure. My pleasure.
It's a huge honor for me.
Thank you.
I actually don't really know you, but I just saw your content, and I right away felt like it's the right person for me for my podcast, because it's all about inspiration and spiritual growth and impact. So, hi, nice to meet you. And
Pleasure.
for those who don't know who you are, can you say a few words about what are you doing? How did you start? What is actually going on right now with
Right.
everything you do, because it looks amazing, and I want to hear more.
Perfect. At 37, I learned Rabbi Nachman's teachings around 22, 23.
Oh, wow.
I got very much into spirituality from a very unfortunate situation in life, and that allowed me to get into spirituality.
Do you think something bad happened? So
I had a gambling addiction.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I was in the wrong world. And thank God at 23, 24, I picked up Rabbi Nachman's teachings. I studied these teachings for 15, 16 years.
wow.
At 37, I started publicly speaking. I was always in the business world. I always had business, real estate, etc. But more, the public speaking started at 37 years old.
Wow.
And that became all of a sudden, like a fun project. And today, it's a little more than a fun project. It became.
You always had it in you. You always had the
It became. It's sort of a 37. It became this new concept, and I also own and operate drug and rehab centers.
Wow.
Yeah, in Miami, and that has
actually
helped me
involved
blend
there?
both.
You actually involved with the people?
Very much, yes.
Wow.
Yeah, very much.
So you hear all kinds of stories all day.
every time.
you get to-
All we hear is stories. We try to break the stories and create new
Wow.
realities.
So how did you get to the point where you're doing something so big and important? Like, what did you do before?
Different businesses, more like insurance businesses, etc.
So not spiritual at all.
No.
Like it was-
This became more of a definitely a calling. Much
That's
more
amazing,
calling.
because every time a person have this awakening inside him, and it has to come from a challenge, has to come from a difficult.
Exactly.
How do you can you explain more about it? Because we mostly fear from having difficult times and challenges, and run away and trying to avoid it. But as you can see, it could be beautiful.
Right. So ultimately in life, if you receive something without earning it, it will lead you to shame. So God always puts pain, and He puts stuff in our lives, not for bad reasons, but to expand our vessels. So usually when a person goes through pain, God gets the best out of you. Either He gets the best out of you, or He gets the worst out of you. So yeah, many people end up with terrible pain today, and they end up it breaks them down, and some people breaks them through. Like for example, some of us had tough childhoods, and we became very successful because of that, and some of us became unfortunately not. So you could see two people could go through the same situation, and it makes you or breaks you.
So how can you suggest someone that's going through a really hard time now? Like, what do you suggest them to start with?
Right.
Like you said, you mentioned Rabbi Nachman. What's in there that attracted you?
Right. I have a very successful podcast that we have over 40,000 followers. That has basically Judaism, spirituality, recovery, therapy, all in one. It's well packaged.
Wow.
It's on Spotify under my name, Gedale Fenster.
I will send the link. I will.
Yeah. So that's really it's a lot of people misdiagnose God. They misdiagnose
Tell me about it.
challenges. They misdiagnose things as bad when it's really a blessing in disguise.
Right.
That's the problem. So they misdiagnose, and then they stop communicating instead of start communicating and diagnose it that everything's, because our Creator created the world in order to bestow His kindness, but we need vessels. That's the problem. Without
So it's
the
all about
appropriate vessels-
really preparing the vessel.
It's all about the vessel. For example, this light is extremely bright in my face, okay? I can handle this for an hour, even though it's a lot of light.
So to be able to handle it for more.
2 hours, no, but 2 hours, 3 hours, it could
would be too much.
actually create a negative effect on me.
Right.
So the same thing, when we don't have the appropriate vessels, the light can actually be not good for us.
Wow.
Yeah.
So, for example, a lot of people that winning the lottery, they could lose the money in one day because they're not ready for it.
They're not
So
ready
even
for it. They don't have a good relationship with money.
Right.
They have a poverty mindset. They spend it all away. Yeah, of course.
So basically, if someone wants to get married and they're not married yet, it's probably their vessel is not ready. Like,
Right. It could be that it could be that God's doing them a favor by putting them in realizing sometimes they're too much into a receiving energy. They come too much as to receive. Our life in this, our job in this world is to channel the vessel from receiving to giving. So marriage is about giving. You know, you say if you go to a marriage to get, you're gonna end up getting a get. That's it.
I'm curious because I got married when I was almost 18, right?
Right.
17, and I'm still married happily.
Thank God.
Happens to be. Thank God. I was in the mindset of giving. Like what was there that I found the love of my life and a person who is not just because he's here. He's really good. What is there about me that I received it? And I have friends that are 35 and they're not married yet, and they want to get married.
Right. Sometimes you have a good relationship with receiving. Maybe you know how to receive.
Right. That's true.
So if you know how to receive and you're
and
grateful,
it's not bad way. People think it's bad. Not receiving as like I deserve, like I'm worth it. Like I feel also people that can receive, usually people who can give also.
Yeah.
Because they feel whole. Right?
By you receiving, you allow your husband to give you more.
Right.
So when a lot of women have a problem with receiving.
A lot of people, yeah.
Yeah. So
I see also motherhood.
They're too tough.
Right.
They want to be hyper independent, which is exactly what Eve's sin was. So she didn't know how to receive. So she wanted to be in control. Then what happens? When you want to be in control, your whole life becomes out of control. So for the woman, there's a big rectification, especially in this genre, is to know how to receive. Right.
You don't need to be the
You don't have to be the man in the relationship. You have to you have to know how to go into surrender. And that's why surrendering is very important for women today. And it's not a weakness, it's a strength.
It's not, right. A lot of people, why do I need to surrender to my man? It's not. It's such a powerful thing to do.
Well, in Judaism, we're taught to surrender.
So what did Judaism says about surrendering? Can you explain more about it?
For example, you have a challenge in your life. You have an obstacle in your life. If you want to be in control of it, you'll never get the inside of it. But if you surrender, you'll be able to make space for the shift that God wants you in that challenge.
Wow.
Yeah.
So how do you actually suggest doing it when you're going through a divorce right now?
Right.
You're going through a financial difficulty.
So we just came up with the basics that everything God does is for the best, and He does it to reveal His kindness.
Wow.
So if you have the mindset that it's all love, then you'll surrender to realize that you're being pivoted, you're being redirected, not rejected, redirected to a different mission.
It's amazing because if you live that way, like you're saying, there would be no wars, there would be no divorce, there would be no breakup.
That's faith. That's faith.
That's faith.
Faith is the source of all blessing.
Why is it so hard for us? Why is it so hard for us to live this way? Because even though we know it, it's very hard day by day when you have these like challenges. It's very hard to go back to the metrics. Why?
Because we think we know better. Number one, we have insecurities with God. We think that we need to control. We don't want to let Him in. So there's
also,
the
you feel
insecurity
like
of the person.
Right.
Security of the person. If the person had security, he would know how to. If his relationship with his Creator is good, he would completely surrender. Just like a marriage, you would. If you think your husband is a great guy, and he's asking you to help him, and he's asking you to trust him, you'll say, I got you. I'll trust you.
Right.
And then there's no problem. But if you want to control him, if you don't want to create space, if you want to be hyper independent. People
tend to think that people are with very big faith are delusional, or they're like, oh my God, you're over, and then you feel like weird about it. So sometimes you're like doubting yourself. Maybe but it works.
Don't follow great successful people. Don't follow majorities.
No. I see it. I got married when I was 17. I had my first baby when I was almost 19. I started a business. I'm 30 years old. I have 3 kids. I have a very successful business, thank God. I have a lot of impact. I never followed anyone, and I never sticked for validation. That's the one thing I keep telling people. Don't look for approval. Like nothing was easy for me, but I took the risk. I jumped and I took responsibility. I wasn't waiting for anyone, including my husband, to be aligned with me. Back then, I just did whatever I needed to do in order to get to where I want to go, and that's it.
Right. So you seem to have God in your life.
Yeah.
Which is very, very important. So that allows you to see a much bigger picture. And even everything you do, you're trying to elevate it, not trying to, like, for example, when you're seeking too much validation, you're trying to take too much credit for yourself. But when you're connected to God, all you're doing is you're elevating it instead of hoarding it.
Right. Also, go with your intuition. For example, I remember when we had financial difficulties in the beginning. No one helped us. We came from nothing. We started out of basement. We moved from Israel 10 years ago. And I was never... What?
Thank God.
Yeah. And I was never in the mindset where, I have to save. I can't do this because I have no money. I have to, like, people think by saving and living like numbers and Excels, they're going to get rich. And I remember people used to look at me, you're crazy. You're so not responsible. Like, where is your Excels? Where is your plans? I never had plans. I didn't live by that because then you're limiting yourself. For me, there's no limits.
I went to Beverly Hills. I spoke to a lot of the Persian community. I did 11 events pretty much there. And they like to bargain a lot.
Yeah.
And I'm like, you guys are, you're because of this mindset, everything's a bargain. I need
They're
to bargain.
tough, right? They're more.
The mind, sometimes when you're too into asking for discounts, then you can't get into a great flow.
Right.
Because you're contracted.
So how do you respond to that? Like, what's...
The only way to really live in abundance is not by saving, is by giving.
Right.
So this is why we have charity. We have, you have to make sure you have a good relationship with money.
For sure.
Yeah.
I remember there was like the worst Shabbos we had. It was like 8-9 years ago, right in the beginning. And I was about to go shopping on Friday to get food for Shabbos. And I wasn't sure if the credit card was going to go through or not. Like, it was very, very hard. And then I got a call from a friend saying there's a new family. Nobody knew our situation because I'm not the person to go and cry and no, I have God. He's going to help me. And a friend called me and he's like, there's a new family. They just moved. They don't have money for Shabbos. Can you help them? And I'm like, what do? I look at my account. I had the last like $50 or $80. I'm like, if I give that, I'm not going to have for my food. But if God sent them to call me, it's for a reason. So I stand in the car. I looked up and I was like, I'm going to sell this money now to this family. And I don't know how Hashem's going to help. Like this mindset when you have nothing, but you feel the deep connection is, I can't even explain how good it feels. So, and everything worked out. We had food for Shabbos. So I don't remember exactly how, but then the credit card went through and then the next week my husband got a different job and everything works out. Even, it doesn't have to be the same second, but it will come. So I'm saying having this mindset of like, it's unlimited, even though now it looks a certain way, it doesn't define us or it's not permanent. You know what I'm saying? It's temporary. So, and people like try to explain us how you have this mindset. How do you do it? And really, I can't. It's something that you feel. You have to feel Hashem.
You have to have certainty before. You have to have certainty before logic.
So how do you develop this certainty? That's the one thing I can't explain because I have it naturally.
Right.
But I can't.
What's your sign? You're Sagittarius. What sign are you?
Libra.
Libra.
October.
That's very good. Normally Libra's a decision. They can't make a decision.
Yeah.
That's very good that you're able to
for me, decisions are not a problem.
Yeah. So having certainty over logic. That's a very big basic tenet in Judaism.
Wow.
Is to be able to focus on believing instead of understanding. When you believe, then you'll understand afterwards. Understanding does not come before believing. So people that again, it goes back to the same concept. If there's a lot of insecurities, then you're not going to have, you can't trust and let go. So you believe that God is great to you. You believe that God is kind. Then He's not going to sit there and, Tony Robbins had a situation. And security, confidence
doesn't come from where you came from, your parents, who you are, how much money you make. Because I remember when I had nothing, I was the same way. So it really is something that you could develop, even if right now you have nothing. You have yourself.
It's an attitude, and it's also you have to realize that before you get tested, before you get into the big leagues, you will be tested.
Wow.
And to see how you deal with it. That's why the same word for test in Hebrew is the same word for also miracle. Nes and Nisayon. So you could see there's always a test, and that's where you're getting tested. So you got tested with that.
Right.
And if you pass the test, then you build a vessel. So you're talking about how do you build a vessel?
I felt ready for money. I felt ready. I felt like I can do good with it.
But then, okay, you're ready to do with it? Okay. Give up the last $80 you have. Let's see if you do have it or not. So the fact that you were in a giving mindset, even though you had only $80.
Right.
That was your test, that that your relationship with money is good. Okay, if you can handle that with $80, we can handle it with much more. It's the end product. The key is the end product of the results.
It's beautiful what you said.
Yeah.
Because I realize, like, as we go, we get more tested about different, aspects of life, and you just have to have this faith to go through this. Don't be afraid.
Correct.
Correct. What's the worst can happen? I always ask myself, what's the worst? I can lose what? I always have me. I always have my skills, my mindset, my personality. Like what I'm going to lose.
Right. So again, when you have fear, you have attachments. So the reason why we handle is because we're very attached to things. And when you're attached to things, you can't let go.
You basically take your identity from outcomes and outside things.
You have to get to a point where you create space for your creator, for Hashem, to come in and do his thing. But if I'm so attached, I can't, there's no
space.
Make space. And attachment is fear.
What is the first step you're doing with people that comes to you with drugs, addict, I don't know, all kinds of addiction?
Right. I mean, first they have to obviously get detoxed physically detoxed. And then again, we follow a 12-step model, which is very based on surrendering and, recognizing a higher power in your life. They're
mostly Jewish people?
No.
Or not necessarily?
No.
It doesn't matter?
No, not Jewish, no.
Well,
10% Jewish.
Oh, wow.
10, 15%, but the majority not.
So they all go back like very spiritual.
we get them into the whole thing is, when you go through trauma and you go through things, you lose your self-esteem and then you end up turning to drugs. So this is recovering back to themselves.
Do you believe that anyone can get, healed from bad addictions?
Absolutely.
No matter where? I have someone I know, he's like 50 years old. He's now married, is addicted to not major, like whatever, weed or whatever it is, but it stops him from everything. And he gave up.
Because what happens is people want to, we come here to expand our consciousness, not to alternate our consciousness. So when you have pain and you alternate your consciousness, you're not growing. You're just replacing darkness with more darkness.
But how can you help someone
but
how can you help someone the first step if he doesn't believe that he's worth the help? He's like lost all self.
So he needs to do inner child work. A lot of the issues come from inner child. The inner child.
Can you give an example? Like what?
Yeah, for example, let's say why is somebody very, very successful today sometimes? It's because they had a bad childhood.
Sure.
And they got rejected. Okay, they got rejected, so they become super, super driven.
Right.
Because they realize that, I have nothing. But that could be a problem in the future. They need to know, they need to grow up, and then they have to now heal that. Okay, now I don't need this crazy success. Now I could back down and have a normal family. I don't have to be so competitive. But sometimes this inner child becomes their whole life. Right.
He's like managing you. He's like
you're still in the little inner child that's trying to prove everything to everybody, and you're super competitive, and your whole life is just a big race. So you have to know how to. There's a time where you need it, and there's a time where you have to let it go.
Let go.
Let go. And then now focus on loving and healing and giving to others, because then it just becomes just a race to prove to people,
The ego. The ego is the most dangerous. How do you deal with it? You're going out for seminars. You have a lot of people that probably, big fans, and they adore you and they appreciate you. How do you feel? Like, how do you handle this? I'm curious. It's a personal question because I'm also going through this, and it's like
I know everything comes from Hashem. I don't let it get to my head. Yeah, it's not about me. I know that I'm just a messenger.
But I also know everything comes from Hashem, and I'm just a messenger. But sometimes it's hard. We live in the world. We have social media. We have this. We have we want to grow. And how do you?
I mean, thank God.
It's not even a challenge for you.
I'm married with 4 kids, so I'm very.
It's grounding.
My wife is beautiful. I'm very attracted to her, and I'm very grounded to that world. Yeah.
So that's the one thing. Always like that. You were always like that. Very grounded.
Reb Nachman teaches you to be very grounded. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I never went to yeshiva, went to I learned this stuff myself.
So you just taught yourself?
Yeah. So, I mean, and again, I'm very independent, so I don't need, nobody's going to tell me what to say. I'm very, it's a very authentic. You don't like it, you don't like it. I'm not looking for your approval.
Right.
This is my classes, this is what I need. If you're listening with me. That's the bottom line.
You can tell it, you can feel it.
Yeah.
People can
you're listening with me. This is what I'm working on. You want to work on it too? Well, enjoy.
True.
But once you start working for other people, you lose it.
Right.
You'll lose the light.
When you need something from other people. That's why
you'll lose the light. You'll lose the light of authenticity, the emet, and then you won't get to where you need to go.
True. It's super important what you're saying, because a lot of people are going through this, especially now when, everyone wants to grow and everyone needs something. But really, you don't need anything. You just need to be very, very
right.
authentic.
You need to awaken. You need to awaken what you already have.
And then your
instead of
energy
needing.
will attract. I feel it. You just, your
Everything's
energy attracts whatever you meant to do, whoever you meant to meet. You don't need, like, don't come from a place of like, I need this, I need him to help. You don't need anyone. I didn't have anyone when I started. I just have myself. I had my passion, and you learn. Obviously, you make a lot of mistakes, and
Right.
That's your nisayon. That's your lessons that you have to learn.
But again, you're grounded. So you're grounded. So, but if you were not grounded, it could get to your head. It could, you could
It
stop.
is. That's why I ask you that. It's a very dangerous place.
So you have to make sure you're grounded. And thank God you have kids, and thank God you're grounded. So that grounds you, which is excellent.
I feel like being married and having the kids is like a big,
Right.
It's a big advantage because you come home, you change diapers, you do this. You're like, they make sure to ground the hell out of you. So.
That's right.
So you're not anything special. You're just like bringing your light out there, and that's such a like powerful, nice thing to be able. Like I see you
when you're changing a diaper, you go back to bittul.
Yeah, sometimes like the way I look in my house, and then my kids see me on social media, I'm like, Ima, it doesn't look like the same person. I'm like, who cares? That's something that really, the kids are a really great mirror for you.
Your message is very good for girls today. I think it's very important for that message that you could do both.
Yeah.
Yeah.
100%.
The other.
Well, you need to fulfill yourself. That's just because you have kids, it doesn't mean you have to like not be happy or not do whatever you meant to do. And my kids love it. They appreciate it. I mean, they're sometimes upset that I'm flying here and there. I do real estate, so I fly a lot, and I'm out there. But then I can also have really nice quality time with them because I can afford it to be with them whenever I want, however I want. So, and that's what I meant to do. I'm not going to change because the opposite. People think, kids are going to change your life. They're going to stop you. No, they brought so much blessing into my life.
Yeah, we definitely have to bring the light of Judaism in a more modern, I think it has a bad PR rep.
I love
all or nothing.
I love what you just said.
Yeah,
because
that seems to be
you probably
that's
felt
what I'm trying to do myself, trying to bring a different light.
That's my passion now.
Yeah.
You know what?
Yeah.
For the
so
last
that really has to be the calling today of modernize it and make people feel comfortable and make it look like it's not a taboo.
I love what you just said because there's a lot of light that we need to bring to the religious world, especially the religious world.
Yes.
Because also, I see Israel, what's going on. I have like clients that are...
So that's the most judgmental world, which unfortunately it's a problem because you're supposed to be religious. You have to be less judgmental, more understanding.
And it's not.
And unfortunately,
it's not,
it needs work.
It came to a place where I told my husband, I rather to accept not religious client. I have more spirituality connection with them than the religious world. And it's very hard for me to say because I'm religious. But I wish I can. And I think I can. Like I'm trying, we're all trying. And when people see you, they see that it's possible to look good and to be successful and to do what you do and to live life. It's possible. And you're still very, very, spiritual and connected.
Sure.
So I feel like, we have to connect it together. When you're religious doesn't mean, it's not just the symbols, right? It's more than that. And the meaning of judgment, the meaning of Lashon Hara, really like to connect them to the real light.
I mean, listen, the bottom line is if you're happy, you're going to lift others. If you're not, you want to take down others. So it really comes down to, so Reb Nachman always said first be happy, then be religious.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
The main emphasis should be, because right now the divine essence, the Shekhinah is in exile today. It's because what's happening is we have all these mitzvot and people they're not excited with it.
They're not.
It's a drag.
Also, they don't understand.
Right.
Do you really know why you're keeping Shabbat? Do you really know why you're doing, no, most of them know.
So we need different language today.
Right.
We need,
love, the love language.
We need love. And also, for example, what is Shabbat? Shabbat represents receiving. Do you know how to receive?
Resting.
That's why you don't have to work. Not because God's restricting you. No, He's actually allowing you to receive.
Right.
Because if you want to work all the time, you can't receive. But if you change the language, then maybe people could look at it differently.
Right. Not as like, oh, Shabbat, like, why do I need to not drive? They don't know.
Right.
And they're trying to force the non-religious people, keep Shabbat. But no one is going to start keeping Shabbat just because you scare them that you're going to go to hell. But
the answer definitely is to not keep and just be super, independent and I love everything and not have any we need vessels.
For sure.
You need structure. You can't just be completely.
But we need to explain them why Shabbat is so important spiritually, not because you're going to go to hell, you're going to get burned. It's not.
Correct.
It doesn't work.
It should be fear-based. It should be love and then and then people will understand it.
Right, because I see it by myself. Like, I choose to be religious. Nobody's forcing me. I believe in it. I know exactly what I'm doing. I'm researching. I love it. I enjoy it. And then that's why also I'm not afraid. A lot of parents are afraid of their kids. Oh, I don't want them to go off. I'm not afraid. I know the truth. This is the truth. Why would they look for something else? Like, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
When you're so confident with what you're doing and you're not like trying to like keep them, in a closed door and not to say the world, then why? You're not confident enough? Like
That at the end of the day, that's what every insecurity is based on that. I mean, every insecurity is if you have the security and you have trust, you let go and you give people space. But when there's a lack of insecurity, and you're fear based and you're insecure, you need to control others.
Right.
You destroy others.
that's what happens when you're afraid.
Correct.
And you're right.
So it's your own issues. So just like anything else, you need to create space.
That's
for people.
amazing. What is your do you still have like dreams that you didn't achieve? Like what's next?
The book is coming out in 3 months.
The first book?
First book.
I need it.
4 months, yes. It's called I Surrender.
I love it.
365 quotes on modern day living.
Wow.
Yeah, so that's always been an obstacle in my head.
Yeah.
The book, that has always been an obstacle for me.
How long are you working? How long are you working on the book?
It's been a year. I did it. I didn't want to do it. Did it.
Wow.
Changed this direction.
Why?
Author.
Why?
There's a lot of obsticles.
Yeah.
Because it's mentally, when you're writing
it has to be good.
book, it's mental. It's just, so much to do, so much. But thank God we plowed through it.
Wow.
With God's help.
So
I'm not going to say you can't write a book if it doesn't have a tear. That means if it doesn't have struggle.
Wow.
Yeah.
So like anything else, any good stuff comes with.
Correct. Again, why?
And
because to avoid the bread of shame, which is how many times have we been very good to people and you gave them too much and they hate you now?
Yeah. Why is that?
It's because you didn't make them work for it. So they feel shame.
It happens a lot. When you help so much and then they take advantage and they don't appreciate it and they're just
and then
like...
they hate you after, which is again... And not only do they not
it happens to me also. So why?
Because you can't give somebody something if they don't earn it.
But then how? But I want to give. That's me. I want to give and I want to lift up people.
You have to give, but you have to give with with the appropriate consciousness.
Mm-hmm.
If you give too much, then they can't handle it. Then they resent you.
So you have to give to a certain point where they can handle.
You have to have it. You have correct. You have
their
to give.
vessel can accept.
You have to give, but their vessel has to be able to receive. But if you give too much, there's an excess of light, and there's no vessel. So what happens? It breaks, and then they resent you for giving.
And they blame you, and then you're
correct.
So really, you have to make sure even when you're giving, it has to be at a certain point where there's boundaries there. Not
Chesed,
right.
Gevura. Tiferet. Tiferet is a combination of Chesed and Gevura. Chesed is kindness, Gevura is restraint, Tiferet is beauty in the middle.
Wow, that's beautiful.
You have to be able to go in the middle. Everything's about that. Everything in life is a combination between the right, the left. Chachma is knowledge, inspiration. Bina, the left brain is analyzing it and bringing it down. And then the combination of that is dat, consciousness. So it's about really, really bringing the right and the left.
It's amazing.
In the middle.
I like that. I needed to hear that.
Yeah. So that's really, everything's about that. The husband's very chachma, the wife's very bina, right? Bina is details. Where the husband's big picture. Stop focusing on every details. So you need the details, but if you're too much into the details, you lose the creativity.
True.
So you have to, you need to know how to combine both of them. Where the right brain is the creativity, the left brain is the details, but you can't stay too much in one area or the other because then you can be too positive and not get anything done. You could be too into the details and be stuck and not look at the bigger picture.
And being. So how do you, like a lot of times, they're saying ishtadlut, right? Where is the point where, okay, you did what you had to do because you have to do, right? You have to act. And then you have to let go. So can you say a few words about that?
So we have, for example, a business is a deep. God does not like to operate open miracles.
Right.
So he's not going to say, I'm going to.
He needs actions.
He needs like a vehicle. He needs for example, if you're gonna be in a business, you're not gonna shine shoes and become a billionaire. You have you have to create a business that pleasant can come through, not because of the business, through the business.
Right.
So real estate, God can provide deals. It's a tool.
It's a tool. I feel it.
That's where the shefa, the blessings can come through the deals, not because of the deals.
Nope. I feel it, yeah.
Correct. So you have to think of it like a decoy. I have to create a decoy, and the blessing has to come through this decoy. But not because it's me. It's because it comes through it, not because of the business.
Right.
So sometimes people, they get too stuck on
themselves.
Themselves or the business and the this, and it's just a decoy.
A lot of times I see it also with marriage where, let's say the wife works harder and she makes more money and then she complains that, or the opposite, that the husband, but I saw it in one of the seminars, one of the ladies just stood up and said, I want to get divorced. I am the only one that works. My husband can't provide. I don't appreciate him and blah, blah, blah. But I was thinking in my head, what if he's your blessing? What if he does something that because of that, then you have this, work and it's not you. Just because you're doing the more physical work, it doesn't mean that you are the abundance and you know what I'm saying?
At 30 years old, to have that mindset, you're very smart.
I started very early.
No, that's again, yes, you're right.
Yeah, right? I wanted to tell her that. It was very sad for
today, 70% of the women are calling divorces.
It's very sad for me. I grew up to divorced parents, and for me to see a house breaking is I take it personal, Correct. I was 2 years old.
But they're calling, the Gemara says that the woman wants to be married more than the guy. So because of this new energy of control, of I don't need a guy, a feminist movement.
Anyway, works.
It's destroying the mind. That's why you need spirituality.
You have to.
You need to know your role in life.
Right.
You need to know how to balance.
It's not
masculine,
about
feminine.
You. Right.
You need to understand it's not about you.
Right.
Many women should, instead of saying I want to be happy, try to make somebody else happy.
Right.
And then they'll make you happy.
Right.
So there's a lot. There's really a lot.
Right.
There's a lot to deal with.
I wish.
And you have to take a step back. When you're going through a challenge, you have to take a step back and ask yourself, what energy are you in? Are you in receiving energy or are you in giving energy?
And before you're making a step like that, like getting divorced or doing this extreme, act, maybe try it, because who says the next relationship is not going to be the same? If you have a certain problem, control issues, whatever it is, why do you think the next one is not? Okay, so it could be different. It's not going to be financial. It's going to be whatever it is, but then you're going to be in the same place. That's what people don't understand. Fix yourself, improve yourself, go through a spiritual growth, understand better, and then do.
Who taught you all this stuff, all these things? It sounds like she's been on my podcast for 10 years.
Life.
Right. This is exactly
life.
right.
Really
right.
life.
Who says just because there's 5 reasons why we come back as reincarnated. One of them is because you didn't fix a problem from a past life.
Right. So
if you don't fix it this time.
Right.
It's going to continue to happen.
It's not going to just disappear.
Right. So the real way to look at everything is, I said this many times, anytime you're going through any challenge, you have to use this form. It's called DBT. D, you have to dismiss the messenger. B,
it's not about them. Don't blame them.
The messenger has nothing to do.
Right.
For example, us blaming Hamas. It's our problem. We weren't united.
Right.
We were united.
Right.
They would never come in. So if you just want to kill Hamas and not be united,
it's going to be someone. It's going to be ISIS. There was always going to be more enemies.
You lose the whole point of everything.
Right.
And sometimes we can go through such a lesson and lose the whole point of the message.
Oh, that's so powerful what you just said.
We can lose. People can go through and all of a sudden they lost the message.
Right.
Because why? Because all they think about is the messenger. So guess what? Another messenger comes. And does the same thing. And it's over and over again. So if you don't understand that, what is God? That's why the essence of Emunah is anytime you say, this person harmed me, you lose faith. You're saying there's an independent party. That means if God did not want that person to harm you, he would never harmed you.
So let me ask you this.
That's Sinat Chinam, by the way. Sinat Chinam means blaming the messenger.
Right.
Not blaming, not understanding it's from Hashem. Right. That's Sinat Chinam.
And that you have a part, you have a role.
That
Right.
they're here to test.
So why do we have, for example, if we all live like that, do we still need courts? Do we still need Beis Din? Do we still need like no, seriously,
Yes.
I'm asking
Tell
it
you
because
why.
in my head,
Yes.
I'm with
Tell
you.
you why.
I live like that, but then things happening that you sometimes need to stand up for yourself, or
Right.
you need to take care. So where it comes the point where you're saying, okay, I still have to go to court because she did this and this, so I still have to go. Because in my head, I don't want to. Like for me, anything. I just had a situation when a person, whatever it is, she's going through a tough time. She's jealous. I don't know what.
Right.
She said
This is you.
bad things about me, about my business, and she really tried to damage. Now, I don't believe that anyone could do any damage to me. Honestly, I'm with God. Like no, not. I don't think there's a human being out there that can really, cause harm or destroy
Right.
me.
So how do you get rid of her? Do you know how you
I
get rid of
didn't
her?
answer. I didn't respond. I just said, Hashem, you're sending me a lesson here. I'll learn. I'll grow from it. And I didn't care. But then people said, you have to go to Beis Din. You have to sue her. She did, damage, whatever it is. It could be she did. But spiritually, I didn't feel it.
You know why? Because at the end of the day, the only way the enemies go away is when you pray for them. Because it could have been that in a past life, you did the same thing to her.
Wow.
You understand? So what happens is let's say you went through, you probably robbed her in a past life.
Wow.
So this life, you had to go, she had to rob you. And by you accepting and saying thank you
Yeah.
for it, mission's over.
And something very interesting
Nekatikon.
happened. I didn't feel like hate or anger on her. My heart is very clean. Like if she
Very
comes
good.
today and tell me, hey, I'm sorry, I was like, oh, it's fine.
Right.
It's all good.
Right.
Like I don't have any hate on that.
That means, that means because you're looking at the essence of the situation.
Right.
And what you're saying is actually what I want to talk about tonight. It's called Tomer Devorah. Tomer Devorah is a book on 13 attributes of mercy that basically allows you to, every single time somebody hurts you, it allows you to release a spiritual one of the 13 attributes of mercy. So anytime that you forgive, God has to give you mercy now.
Wow.
So imagine this, I don't know how much it was, $3,000 problem, whatever, $5,000 headache, whatever it is. Imagine you need like $100,000 favor. So that $3,000 headache became, the mercy came as a $100,000 favor.
Wow.
So when I look at it, if I'm forgiving below, there's a incredible forgiveness on high.
Wow. That's
Yeah.
amazing.
Yeah.
So you're saying even though I'll
One has
take
nothing
care,
to do with the other. One, it's mercy's mercy. So I'm going to give you mercy here, but then mercy opens up here. You understand? Let's say, for example, a lot of people have a hard time getting married.
right.
They hate their parents. They hate this, and they're getting married. They can't meet anybody. Everybody they meet. So it could be that there could be a blockage in with the relationship with the parents, and sometimes when they let go
Then-
of that blockage, the person comes in their life.
Wow. So you're saying even if someone choose to take care of it and whatever, go to court, do whatever it needs to be, it has to come from an energy of, I'm not mad, I'm not angry, I just gotta do what I gotta do. If it's a business wise, whatever it is, but I do it with a good vibe. Like if I'll see her on the street, I'll say hi and I'll
Correct.
smile.
Correct.
Like you have to do, if there's a leak, you have to take care of the leak, right? You can't just say, oh, there's a leak. Fine. But do it with like this energy of, this is what meant to happen. And it's not even her. Like I love her. I have nothing against her.
Right.
She's a messenger. I'll take care of it, but with a good energy. I feel like that's what now I understood
Very
from
good.
your words.
It's very good. Because at the end of the day, let's say maybe you were ungrateful for something else. So let's say you needed, something else in your life that you could have done wrong.
Right.
Right? So what happens is heaven is always purifying you.
Wow.
Or heaven is testing you to see by sending you. This is why Reb Nachman says this is one of the Torahs that I never forget.
Did you go,
Less
by
than
the way, to the
59.
Zion? Did you ever?
Many 20 times. I go every
Really?
year. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Every year. I'm there.
You go for Rosh Hashanah?
Every year. Every year.
Wow.
So the Reb Nachman says the money and anger come from the same source.
The money and anger. Okay.
Yeah. So what happens is before money comes to a person, he's going to be tested with anger.
Wow.
Yeah. So what happens is that could be, you could be all of a sudden somebody spills a coffee on you. And all of a sudden there's a shefa coming to you, a new deal coming to you. And that person is really there to block the new deal. So you understand, one thing has nothing to do with the other thing.
Wow.
One thing has nothing to do with the other thing.
It's amazing what you just said.
Yeah. So so this is why the word in Hebrew for choma is a wall, Chema is a anger.
Butter? Is it
Chema.
chema?
Anger. Choma is a wall, and chema is a form of anger.
Oh.
So it's the same word. So you could see that either you contain the wall or you break the wall.
Wow.
Yeah, because remember,
powerful thing.
money doesn't come from the right side. Money comes from the north, which is gold. So it comes from the evil. Evil also comes from north.
Wow.
So all the tests with money they don't come like this. They come through the left. They come through tests. They come through challenges. They come through din.
Wow. What a powerful thing.
Yeah. So if you could, that could have been a test for you for a deal.
Great. I'll accept it.
Exactly.
When you live like that, then you're like, okay,
that's the
welcome.
only way to live.
Yay.
That is the only way to live.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you lose. You're reactive the whole time.
Yeah.
And that's
You're
the only way
ruining
to live.
yourself, basically, if you don't live
Exactly.
like that.
Correct.
Like I'm saying, don't even care about them. You know, people these
It's
days,
called staying
she's
above.
like that.
It's called staying above.
Yeah. I don't care about her. I don't care why she did it. It's not in my problem. I care about my life. I want to become better. I want to do better.
Correct.
And I need the right energy to
And
do
most
it.
importantly, you don't want to give your energy away.
No, it's, I feel it. We give our power and energy away every day so many times without even noticing it. Right. Why?
There's no filters.
Right.
No filter. You have to. Kabbalah teaches us that we have to filter in information. You have to filter in what you receive, what you take in.
Wow.
If you take too much in without a filter, just like if you take too much food in without a filter,
right,
you get sick.
Right.
So just like food is a war, melchama, melechma, everything's a war in life. So food is a war. Anything in life you have to be careful with.
Balance and careful.
Everything is all about to make too much of something, it can make you sick.
Right.
So the same thing. Too much social media can make you sick. Too much of this can make you sick. So we need
also there you can balance. You can, choose.
Correct.
It's a choice. Who to follow, what information you're taking in, how much news are you watching, what energy.
That's a filter.
Right.
So the same thing, when you're very careful with your energy, you put up a lot of filters.
And that's the way to win your life, yourself.
Put up a lot of filters.
Live in a peaceful, happy life.
Exactly.
Oh, Gedalia, you're so special. Thank you.
It has the Hashem. It's a lot of personal
your wisdom
laws.
is amazing, and the way you're transferring it, it's such a huge shlichut. I feel like people hear it, and people can. Oh my God, he just said that.
Mindset, yeah.
It's amazing. It's amazing what you're transferring and how you deliver it, and I feel like it's that's what we need to do all day, and the world will be better. We are going to be better.
It's not as easy as it looks.
It's not. You're probably drained out sometimes.
At least you can recalibrate. Let's say you have a bad day, you recalibrate in the morning. Okay, I could have done this better. I could have done this better. I could have done that better.
Wow.
And that's really the purpose of his bodhidut, talking to God. Every morning you recalibrate. You go up. That's what teshuva really is recalibrating.
Right.
You're recalibrating your energy.
But when you live this way, it's amazing how you could really help yourself with anything.
Yes, it is.
You're probably also drained out a lot of times, no? It's hard. But you love it. You have such a big purpose.
I have a daily podcast, almost a daily podcast. So
every day?
Almost every day. So you imagine how many filters I have in my life.
Wow.
I have a lot of filters. So I filter this, I filter this, I filter this. And because you're running a treatment center, podcast, married, you have to be very careful with your energy. And if you're very careful with your energy, you put boundaries, and this is the good, this is not good, then you're organized. But when there's no boundaries, and you wake up like a tourist.
And you have also the facility. You have also the recovering.
Correct. And very difficult employees. And
you're doing with such a big purpose, then it helps, probably motivates you, even if you're drained and you work hard, but it's still, you do something.
I don't look at darkness. I don't look at darkness personally. I take darkness as something new coming. Like, for example, when it's night outside, doesn't mean the world's end.
No,
that means tomorrow morning
it's going to be a morning.
So there's certain rules of creation. There's certain rules of creation, and that's the bottom line. And if you just stay focused and you follow the rules of creation, you'll be okay.
So what's really the main lesson that I learned here, and I want to transfer it, that even if you're in really darkness right now and in difficult times, don't let it stop you. Just continue with what you're doing.
Reveal light. That's all it is.
Exactly. That's the nature of it. That's how it's supposed to be. And it means you're in the right direction. It means you're in the right path.
If you don't have, for example, if you don't have any anxiety at all,
something is wrong.
That means you're not challenging yourself.
Right. I feel it all the time.
Correct. So anxiety means excitement.
Right.
But if you have no anxiety at all, If you're working out and you don't feel any kind of...
You're not developing.
Yeah, you're not doing nothing.
No.
Correct. So there has to be this level of darkness, of the unknown, of being in the unknown, and
right.
just letting go and letting magic happen.
There's something very powerful about it.
Into this world. And this is what God tells us, have emunah. At the end of the day, everything comes down to emunah.
Right. It's something very powerful about it. Great things are happening when you just let go and you don't let any current situation to define you or stop you or,
exactly.
any rejection, anything. Not everything is like a part of your journey, and it's going to just make you more powerful and successful and, amazing the way you are. I took a real estate test when I just started. When I came to America, I had no English. Nothing, no money, nothing. I just decided.
You had hunger. You had hunger.
I was hungry. I was very hungry.
That's how that's desire. You could have all the degrees and have no hunger.
I didn't have any. I didn't even graduate high school because I couldn't sit down and learn. I couldn't. I told you I have this all day HDD, whatever you call it. Yeah. Anyway, and I took the test 8 times. The secretary there told me, Chaya, don't come back. It's not for you. It's like another time. And people, get a license after 2-3 weeks. It took me a year and a half. I didn't know English. I didn't know English. So I took like private tutors, and my husband worked 3 times, 3 works.
Incredible.
We did whatever we can do, and I had the second baby, and I just came again and again, and I told her, listen.
That's an incredible story.
I'm going to be so successful. This test doesn't define me. It's not going to tell me if I'm going to be a good realtor or not. Just a physical test that I have to pass to get my license. It's not really the actual work. So even if it takes me 20 times, you'll have to suffer me and see me again and again. But one day I'll be so successful and I'll do so great. Nobody's going to ask me, how many times did you pass the test? It doesn't matter. No one cares. No one cares.
Every single time what happens is when you get rejected, it's to build more desire.
Right.
Right. Michael Jordan, 9 times, I think, in high school, he couldn't. Harry Potter, the lady tried 12 times. Look at Harry Potter. WD-40, 40 times to come here. So the fact that God did that to you is incredible.
That's amazing. And after, it makes you appreciate more. Because people think, if it doesn't come easily to me, then it's not meant for me. It's not true.
Not true.
It's not true. It's here to develop you.
It means there's a bigger light. I mean, that's why, they say everybody likes Rachel, but nobody likes Leah. And Leah is crying, right? She's crying.
Wow.
Because Leah represents prayer. Leah represents desire.
Right.
Yet she was so powerful that she ended up getting, how many kids did she get? 6.
Right.
Rachel got 2. So Rachel represents the easier stuff, more the reveal, the Torah.
Right.
Leah represents prayer. So Leah got everything. Leah got everything. She got 6 kids. She got everything.
That's amazing.
Because of her desire.
You said, wow.
Because of her rejections, because of her desire. That's why she had tears. So we like the Rachel part. We don't like the Leah part.
Sounds more difficult.
You get it? So and she got more tribes because of her desire.
Right. The greater stuff are coming with
correct.
Nisyonot, but it's rewarding. That's all I can say.
Exactly. Well, that's why our sages tell us that the light from above doesn't come with meaning. We're the ones putting it. So, for example, Nisyan, you could take the word meniot, neimot. It's the same letters. You could take the word.
It's the way we see it. Basically.
We play Scrabble in heaven. Heaven sends the words. Pesha, you can turn into Shafa. Oneg, nega. Tal, lot.
It's the way your perspective.
You are taking the Scrabble. You put the words on what it means in your vessel.
Wow, it's amazing.
You get it? You're the one. Heaven has nothing to do with God.
Right.
It has to do with your vessel and how you interpret the words.
That's amazing. I love it. Yeah. I love it. I feel like we got the message very clear and straight. Beautiful. And Gedale, you are amazing. Thank you so much for being here.
My pleasure.
A pleasure.
My pleasure.